All right, Democrats are facing a possible loss of 19 currently held Democratic seats in 2026. That would make it pretty difficult to take back the House. And taking back the House is the most immediate, important, and robust bulwark against the MAGA and Trump agenda. The House controls the purse strings, the House controls the money, appropriations. Most, if not all, of what Donald Trump wants to do would be curtailed overnight if Democrats can take the House. Now, this has been the big headline for the last 24 hours. Democrats could lose 19 seats. Now, you might say to yourself, wait a second, Trump's a disaster. MAGA's horrible. How could this be? How could Democrats lose, especially when the out of power party usually gains seats after the opposition wins the White House? Trump won in 24. So Democrats should do well in 2026. Well, the answers, I should say, are numerous. Now, I'll give you the technical reasons first. Depending on the outcome of a Supreme Court case, Louisiana v. Calais, a specific type of partisan redistricting, also known as gerrymandering, may or may not be allowed to stand. If it is allowed to stand, that's very bad for Democrats. And so based on that forthcoming Supreme Court decision, there's a bunch of states which may or may not be allowed to draw districts in particularly politically gerrymandered ways. That will impact 2026. Number two, will the authoritarian repression of this administration scare people off from voting in 2026 if they are afraid, rationally or irrationally, about potential repercussions in their personal lives if they vote against MAGA? There are people who are scared, given what's going on in media, given what went on with a bunch of people losing their jobs based on social media comments related to the killing of Charlie Kirk. Will people feel confident that they can go and vote their conscience without repercussions and without blowback? And it's like, yeah, okay, that's all true. But there is a much bigger story than this. In a sane world, which we don't have, MAGA would get 0 votes in 2026. Why? Well, you look at what's happening. The United States is humiliated globally. Trump is barely coherent. Governors and senators say Trump's got dementia. Tariff policy is causing chaos and hurting small businesses and consumers. We were told prices will come down, but they're up. We were promised massive growth, but we don't have it. We've got this disastrous deportation campaign. We're denying people due process. By we, I mean the Trump administration. On health care, supposedly we were going to get people health care, Trump said, but millions are at risk of losing care. So in a world that made sense, MAGA would all lose in 2026, but it's going to be close. They might even be able to keep control of the House. Now, how is this possible? It's easy. The low effort explanation is dumb MAGA voters. Now, are there dumb voters? Of course. We've gone out and talked to a lot of them. There are a lot of really dumb, uninformed people there. They vote based on beliefs that don't comport with reality, don't comport with the facts. The country twice failed a national IQ test, voting to elect Donald Trump twice. And by the way, almost in 2020 as well. But if you stop the analysis at voters are dumb, while it is often true, it is not nearly enough. And saying voters are dumb isn't going to help you win. In the same way that just insisting the economy's fine, when a lot of people said it doesn't feel fine to me, that doesn't win. Just saying these voters are dumb is not going to be enough to win. A lot of voters aren't dumb. And a lot of voters assessed in 2024 that for all of Trump's faults, they just aren't confident that Democrats offered something clear, coherent, and better for the average working class person. They said, okay, I don't think what Trump's offering is good for me, but I don't at all believe that Democrats are necessarily better. Now, we might say, well, that's wrong, but that gets to the problem of Democrats in communicating. So as bad as Republicans are right now, you also have to be looking at the people that can't clearly make the case that they're better, and that's the Democratic Party. Imagine if someone comes to you and says, do you want this rotten hamburger? We might say you've got to be an idiot to take the rotten hamburger. Well, if what's alternative to that is a nice, beautiful, ripe banana or a beautiful meatball parmesan, it would be easy to convince anybody, don't go with a rotten burger. Look what I have. I've got this meatball parmesan. But if you see people choosing the rotten burger, a sensible person would say, wait a second. If I am struggling to talk people out of a rotten burger, I've got to look at what I'm offering. Why isn't everybody saying, we like what you have? Do we have a great sandwich and we don't know how to sell it? Well, maybe. Or maybe our sandwich is rotten too. And that's why people are struggling to pick between the rotten burger and our rotten sandwich. The consequences of this could get very ugly. I believe, and I was thinking back midterm by midterm, I believe that this is the most consequential midterm that we are coming up against here in decades. By far, the most consequential that I have covered, because Democrats should win based on historical precedent. Republicans should lose, even not considering the disaster of MAGA. If we have a situation where having won, with Republicans having won in 2024, Democrats are sort of up for winning based on historical precedent, plus Trump is destroying the country. If Democrats were still to lose, we've got to take a look and say, what the hell is going on here? So I'm extraordinarily concerned. I know that many of you are as well. What do you believe Democrats need to do in order to convince voters that they do actually have something that's better? If you believe that they do, and maybe some in our audience don't, I want to hear from you. info@davidpakman.com.